Imagine you're shopping online for a new pair of sneakers. You find the perfect pair. The price? $200. You hesitate for a moment. $200 feels expensive. Maybe you'll wait until next month, but then something catches your eye. Or pay just $50 today. Suddenly, that same pair of shoes doesn't seem expensive anymore. 4 small payments. No large upfront cost. Just $50 today. You click Buy Now. It feels like you made a smart financial decision. But did you? Because that single button is quietly changing the way millions of Americans spend money. Over the past few years, 3 simple words have spread across almost every online store. Buy now, pay later. Whether you're shopping for clothes, electronics, furniture, concert tickets, or even groceries, there's a good chance you've seen that option at checkout, and millions of people choose it every single day. At first, it sounds like a win for everyone. You get what you want immediately. You don't have to pay the full amount today, and in many cases, there's no interest if payments are made on time. So what's the catch? If customers aren't paying interest, how are these companies making billions of dollars? Why are retailers so eager to promote buy now, pay later at checkout? And why are financial experts becoming increasingly concerned about its rapid growth? Because here's something fascinating. Buy now, pay later isn't just another payment method. It's a completely different way of thinking about money. For decades, people looked at the total price before making a purchase. Today, many shoppers barely notice the total. Instead, they focus on one number, the monthly payment, or in many cases, the first payment. And that small psychological shift has changed consumer behavior around the world. Welcome back to Jackson Invest, where we uncover the biggest stories in business, investing, and money through simple documentary-style storytelling. If you enjoy understanding how businesses really make money and how money influences our everyday decisions, make sure to subscribe, because every episode reveals the hidden strategies shaping the financial world around us. Now here's something that might surprise you. Buy now, pay later wasn't created simply to make shopping easier. It was designed to remove one of the biggest obstacles to spending, the pain of paying. And once that feeling begins to disappear, people often spend far more than they originally planned. That's why this story isn't really about shopping. It's about psychology, consumer behavior, and one of the fastest growing financial industries in America. Because before we understand why buy now, pay later has become so popular, we first need to understand how a simple payment option quietly transformed the way millions of people buy almost everything. So, how did buy now, pay later become one of the fastest growing payment methods in America? The idea sounds almost too good to be true. Buy something today, take it home immediately, pay for it later, sometimes without paying any interest at all. It's no surprise millions of shoppers love the idea, but this wasn't always how people shop. For decades, most Americans had only a few payment options: cash, debit cards, or credit card. If you couldn't afford something, you usually waited, saved your money, and bought it later. Buy now, pay later changed that habit. Instead of asking, "Can I afford this?" many shoppers started asking, "Can I afford today's payment?" That small change completely transformed online shopping. Companies like Klarna, Affirm, Afterpay, and PayPal began offering simple installment plans directly at checkout. With just a few clicks, customers could split purchases into smaller payments. No complicated paperwork, no long approval process. Everything happened in seconds. Retailers loved it because customers spent more. Customers loved it because expensive products suddenly felt affordable. Everyone appeared to win. Sales increased, shopping became easier, and buy now, pay later exploded in popularity. Today, you'll find these payment options almost everywhere. Clothing stores, electronics retailers, furniture websites, beauty product, travel bookings, even grocery purchases. What started as a new payment option quickly became part of everyday shopping. But here's something most people never think about. If buy now, pay later helps customers and helps retailers, who's paying for all of this convenience? Because running a financial company isn't free. Someone has to cover the cost. And once you discover how these companies actually make money, you'll understand why retailers are so eager to offer buy now, pay later at almost every checkout page. But before we uncover the business model, we first need to understand something even more powerful: the psychology behind small payments. Because the biggest reason buy now, pay later became successful isn't technology. It isn't convenience. It's human psychology. And that's where the real story begins. People often believe they're making rational financial decisions, but when it comes to spending money, our brains don't always work the way we think. Imagine walking into a store and seeing 2 price tags. The first says $1,000. The second says only $42 per month. Both represent the exact same purchase, but one feels dramatically cheaper. Why? Because your brain isn't comparing the total cost. It's reacting to the immediate payment. Psychologists call this payment framing. The way a price is presented changes how expensive it feels. Buy now, pay later. Companies understand this better than almost anyone. They know that once the total total price is divided into smaller payments, customers become far more likely to buy. Not because the product became cheaper, because it feels cheaper. And that's a very important difference. Think about buying a new laptop. Paying 1 and 200 $200 today might make you stop and think. You may compare prices, read reviews, or even decide to wait. But what if the checkout page says just $100 a month? Suddenly, the decision feels much easier. The product hasn't changed. The price hasn't changed. Only the way it's presented. That's the power of psychology. There's another effect happening at the same time. It's called the pain of paying. Whenever we spend money, our brain experiences a small feeling of loss. The larger the payment, the stronger that feeling becomes. That's why paying $500 all at once often feels painful, but splitting it into 4 smaller payments reduces that emotional discomfort. You don't feel like you're spending $500. You feel like you're spending only $125. And that's exactly what buy now, pay later companies want. The less pain you feel, the easier it becomes to spend. Research has consistently shown that customers tend to spend more when payments are delayed or divided into smaller amounts. Retailers know this. That's one of the biggest reasons they happily offer buy now, pay later at checkout. If customers spend more, retailers make more money. Everyone appears to benefit, at least in the beginning. But here's the hidden problem. Most people don't make just one buy now, pay later purchase. They make another one and another. A pair of shoes, a new phone, concert tickets, furniture, clothes. Each payment feels small on its own, but together they quietly begin stacking on top of one another. Before long, what once felt affordable can become surprisingly difficult to manage. And that's when convenience slowly turns into debt. Because the biggest danger isn't buying one expensive product. It's forgetting how many small payments you've already promised to make. And that's where the real trap begins. At first, buy now, pay later feels completely harmless. One purchase, 4 small payments. No interest, no problem. But that's rarely how the story ends. Because most people don't stop after one purchase. They finance a pair of sneakers, then a new smartphone, a vacation, furniture, a television, maybe even groceries. Each purchase feels affordable on its own. $25 here, $50 there, $75 next week. None of those payments seem dangerous until they all arrive at the same time. Suddenly, your bank account is being charged by multiple companies. Different payment dates, different amounts, different apps, and keeping track of everything becomes surprisingly difficult. This is where many people make their biggest mistake. They don't think about their total debt. They think about their next payment. That's a dangerous way to manage money because small payments have a way of hiding big obligation. Imagine someone making 8 buy now, pay later purchases in a single month. Each payment is only $30. That doesn't sound like much, but together, those payments become $240 every month. And that's before rent, groceries, gas, insurance, utilities, or any other bills. What once felt affordable slowly becomes overwhelming. Then life happens, an unexpected medical bill, car repair, a reduced paycheck. Suddenly, missing one payment doesn't seem impossible anymore. And depending on the provider and the agreement, late payments can lead to additional fees or affect your borrowing options. That's when the convenience starts disappearing. The financial pressure begins. Many people don't realize they're struggling until they're juggling payments across multiple buy now, pay later apps at the same time. The problem isn't always one large purchase. It's dozens of small decisions made over weeks or months. Each one felt harmless. Together, they created a financial burden that was almost invisible. This is why financial experts often say, debt doesn't become dangerous overnight. It grows quietly, one payment at a time, one checkout button at a time, one impulse purchase at a time. But here's something even more surprising. Even if every customer paid on time, buy now, pay later, companies would still make billions of dollars. How? Because their biggest source of income isn't always late fees. It's something far more clever. A business model that benefits every time you click pay in 4. And once you understand how that business works, you'll never look at that checkout button the same way again. So, if many buy now, pay later plans charge no interest, where does the money come from? At first, the business model seems impossible. A company helps you buy a product today, lets you repay it over time, and sometimes charges you 0 interest. That sounds more like a favor than a billion-dollar business. But here's what most shoppers never see. In many transactions, the customer isn't the only one involved. There's another player, the retailer. Imagine an online store selling a $500 television. A customer sees the price and hesitates. $500 feels expensive. Maybe they close the website. Maybe they decide to wait. For the retailer, that's a lost sale. But then, a buy now, pay later option appears. 4 smaller payments. Suddenly, the customer feels more comfortable. They complete the purchase. The retailer makes a sale. That might never have happened otherwise. And that's incredibly valuable. So valuable that many retailers are willing to pay buy now, pay later providers a fee for helping complete the transaction. In simple terms, the BNPL company company can make money from the merchant, not just the shopper. The retailer accepts the fee because the alternative might be losing the entire sale. But the story doesn't stop there. Buy now, pay later can also change how much people spend. A shopper who planned to spend $100 might spend $150 or $200, not necessarily because they suddenly became richer, but because the smaller payments make the larger purchase feel more manageable. For retailers, that can mean larger shopping carts, more completed checkouts, and fewer customers walking away before paying. That's why the Buy Now, Pay Later button is placed so carefully next to the price, on product pages, inside shopping carts, and directly at checkout. It's not hidden. It's designed to be noticed at the exact moment price hesitation begins. You see the total, you feel uncomfortable. Then you see the smaller payment. The friction disappears, and the sale moves forward. Depending on the provider and product, BNPL companies can also earn money through interest on longer-term financing, consumer fees in certain situations, and other financial services. But the core idea is simple. Make spending easier, help retailers convert more shoppers into buyers, and take a share of the value created. This creates a powerful cycle. Retailers offer buy now, pay later because customers use it. Customers use it because retailers place it everywhere. And BNPL companies grow because more transactions move through their systems. The more familiar the payment method becomes, the more normal it feels. And the more normal it feels, the less people stop to question it. That's what makes this business model so powerful. Buy now, pay later. Companies don't need every customer to miss a payment. They don't need every shopper to pay huge interest charges. They simply need millions of people to keep clicking one button. Pay in 4. But here's the bigger question. Is buy now, pay later actually bad? Or is it simply a financial tool that becomes dangerous when people stop paying attention? Because the truth is more complicated than the headlines make it seem. And understanding that difference may be the most important lesson in this entire story. So, is buy now, pay later actually bad? The honest answer is not always. Used carefully, it can be a useful financial tool. If you already have the money, understand the payment schedule, and know exactly how much you're spending. Splitting a purchase into smaller payments may make managing cash flow easier. The problem begins when buy now, pay later changes the question you're asking. Instead of asking, can I afford this product? You start asking, can I afford this payment? Those questions sound similar, but financially, they're completely different because almost anything can feel affordable when the payment is divided into enough small pieces. A new phone, a television, designer clothes, a vacation, even everyday purchases. $20 here, $40 there, $50 next week. Each payment looks harmless, but your bank account doesn't see small payments. It sees money leaving. And when enough small payments arrive at the same time, the total can become very real, very quickly. That's the biggest lesson behind buy now, pay later. Convenience isn't free. Sometimes the cost isn't interest. It isn't a late fee. It's the way convenience changes your behavior. When buying becomes easier, thinking can become shorter. You compare fewer options. You wait less. You save less. And sometimes you buy things you never planned to buy. That's why financially smart people focus on the total cost, not just the monthly payment. Before clicking pay in 4, ask yourself one simple question. If I had to pay the full price today, would I still buy it? If the answer is yes, then the payment method may simply be a tool. But if the answer is no, the smaller payment might be convincing you to buy something you can't comfortably afford. And that's where debt becomes dangerous. Not when you borrow money, but when borrowing starts to feel invisible. Buy now, pay later has become successful because it understands something incredibly powerful about human behavior. We don't always fear high prices. We fear large payment. Make the payment smaller, and suddenly the purchase feels easier. Retailers understand this. Financial companies understand this. And now you understand it too. So the next time you're shopping online and a $400 purchase suddenly becomes just 4 easy payments of $100. Stop for a moment, look past the small payment, look at the total price, ask whether you actually need the product, and most importantly, ask whether you're buying it because you can afford it or because the payment was designed to feel affordable. Because buy now, pay later isn't necessarily the trap. The real trap is forgetting how much you're actually spending. If you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to like this video. And if you want more business, investing, economics, and personal finance documentaries explained in a simple way, subscribe to Jackson Invest and turn on notifications so you never miss a new upload. Thank you for watching. Stay curious, stay informed, and remember, the easiest payment isn't always the smartest purchase.